Hello, lovelies. So recently, I've been asking myself some questions about some certain things, and I realized that I've been slacking. I haven't really been obeying with exactness. Sometimes, when I talk about obedience, or when people talk about obedience to God, they just feel that it is obeying the commandments that God has given to us. Yes, that is also there, but there's also obedience to the Spirit of God, like obeying the promptings that you receive from God, and also acting in obedience with everything that God is saying and everything that He has said in His words, in His scriptures, and by His leaders in church, right? So, most people neglect some aspects of obedience and just focus on maybe the 10 Commandments, or they neglect instructions that come from the Spirit of God, and they only obey maybe their pastors or their church leaders, and they don't even search the scriptures to find out what God is saying and what God will have them do. Or sometimes we might be more focused on the things that we should not do, and we neglect the things that we should do, right? So here's something I learned today that I'm so excited to share with anybody I come across. So quickly, I'll just tell you what I got today. So what I learned today is that obedience is not necessarily about compliance. It is our relationship with God. I say that again. Obedience is not necessarily about compliance. Obedience is our relationship with God. So now we're more focused about, am I complying with this thing? Am I complying with what God is saying? We want to know, if I don't comply with it, what will happen? If I don't obey what God is saying, what will happen? If I steal, what is going to happen? If I commit adultery, what is going to happen to me? We're so focused on the compliance that we forget that obedience is basically our relationship with God. So I realized something about myself recently. So sometimes I get a prompt saying, Pamela, do this, and I'm asking myself, why should I do this? Like, what could be the reason why I'm feeling this prompting? I'm trying to figure out the why, instead of just obeying. Even when I don't know it, even when it looks stupid, even when I feel afraid, even when I feel scared, I'm just supposed to simply obey, because that is what God is saying. That is what the Spirit of God is saying, right? I'm just supposed to obey, but I try to find out why. Because I was so focused on obedience as compliance with the rules, with compliance with the commandments, compliance with the promptings. Or why could God be saying this? Why is God telling me to pay my tithes? I forgot that it was about my relationship with God. Immediately I got this understanding today. I feel so blessed. I feel so blessed that I had to travel miles. I had to cross distances just to hear this, just to be blessed by this, like just to understand this. You don't know. See, it is not about compliance. Sometimes we try to be so transactional with God. We're like, oh, if I pay my tithes, I'm supposed to be blessed. I'm supposed to have money. I'm supposed to have this. And we're so focused about focused on the blessings. What happens to just simply obeying? Like, because He has said this, I am going to do it. I don't care. I don't care if I have the money. I don't care if I have good health. I don't care if the blessings come. I am just going to simply obey. I don't care if I'm paying my tithe and every other person that pays is richer, or they're getting blessing and it looks like nothing is happening, and people get to doubt if I even pay my tithe. I really don't care. I'm just going to obey. So that is what I learned today. So we try to be so transactional with God, and we're like, oh God, if you give me this, I'm going to give you this. If you do this, I'm going to do that. But that is not the point. God is more interested in our desire to be with Him. It's not about the things that we want from Him. It's not about the things that we want Him to give to us. He's more interested in our desire to be with him. In the process of obedience, you become transformed, and that transformation is the blessing. I didn't realize this. Today, I had a prompting to go to church. I didn't feel like it. I didn't want to, but I just wanted to go to church. And the thought that came is like, oh, we'll go to church so that okay. But I didn't realize that God was asking me to go to church so that I could meet his beloved daughter that could take me miles to a conference in church so I could listen to one person that he was bringing from the US to speak. So it wasn't really about going to church. It was that word. It was what he wanted me to be blessed with. It was what he wanted me to hear. And because I was there, I was able to be transformed. I was able to be a better person because I learned something that I was supposed to learn at this point in my life. So see, guys, I don't really know, but this thing is the fact that we miss out on a lot of things without even knowing. So I would have missed out on this without even knowing. And we expect the blessings that we want, but we fail to realize that God is going to give us the blessings that we need. And the blessing of obedience is transformation. It is transformation. You're going to be transformed. When you obey Heavenly Father, you're going to be transformed. It's not about money. It's not about material things. It is not about good health. It is not about anything. It is transformation. The more you obey him, the more you get transformed. The more you obey him, the more you become the person that he wants you to be. Simple acts of obedience are going to lead you to your final destination. I'm serious. Consistency is key. If you miss out on one thing, you miss out on a lesson that you're supposed to learn. Life is about learning. Life is about learning at every point in time, at every stage that you're in. There's something that you're supposed to learn. If you're not learning that thing, I don't know. There are so many things that you're supposed to learn at every stage in your life. So don't stop seeing obedience as compliance or what would happen if I don't do this. Be more interested in your relationship with God, because obedience transforms you, and that transformation is the blessing. Yes, it's the blessing. Our desire to be with God will strengthen our relationship with him. The fact that you would rather do what he wants you to do, what he has asked you to do, what he has commanded you to do, because you love him. Not because of what you're gaining, not because of what you want him to give you, but because it is him that has said so. And because you cherish him more than anything else. That desire is so beautiful, and that desire is what Heavenly Father wants. That is what he's looking at. Okay, my loves, I hope you learned something today. Bye.